So guys, what I'm going to show you today is an absolutely game-changing thing that every golfer must have. It's not anything to do with technique. It's going to include all the wedges in your bag. If you're looking to lower your scores, I'm going to explain why a wedge matrix, understanding your wedge distances, is an absolutely game-changing thing that every golfer must try. Every time I see a golfer do it, every time I do it with one of my lessons, they always feed back and say what a difference it makes. We're going to find out with 4 different wedges how far they go with different swings. I'm Callum Beveridge, I'm a P.G.A Professional and coach, and we're going to cover a wedge gapping session. So in this video, we're going to cover my 4 wedges. So in my bag, I've got a pitching wedge, like most. I've got a gap wedge, which is a 50-degree wedge. I've got my 54-degree, which is my sand wedge. And then I've got my 58-degree, which could do with a little change. Actually, the Callaway Jaws wedges. I just like them because they've still got the Happy Gilmore stamps on them. So one of the things that I see a lot of golfers know and don't know is most golfers have a good idea of roughly how far their 7-iron goes, but anytime they get inside 100 yards, don't really know how far a half swing sand wedge goes or how far a 3/4 gap wedge goes. And to be honest, you're going to hit those shots a lot more often. It's even more important that you know these. How often when you're out on the golf course do you get a full wedge distance? Hardly ever. Most of the time you're going to have to take something off your swing, you're going to have to control distance, and that is one of the most important things with wedges. You're not really going to have any curve on the ball, there's so much loft. So if you can control distance effectively, then you're going to hit the ball a lot closer to the hole. So in today's video, I'm going to carry out my wedge yardages, and I'm going to work out the quarter swing distance, the half swing distance, the 3/4 swing distance, then we're going to go full out carry distance. So 4 distances, each wedge going for carry distance rather than total distance, how far that ball travels through the air. And what we're going to do, if you do this, make sure you use the golf ball that you would use out on the golf course. So I've got a Titleist Pro V1 here, that's what I would normally use, but make sure you do this with a golf ball that you normally use. So let's crack on. I'm going to start with my lob wedge quarter swing. So wherever you feel your quarter swing is, that might be sort of pocket to pocket or sort of hip to hip. The important thing is it's whatever you feel like a quarter swing is. My swings might be slightly longer, probably, but it's what you can link how it feels to the distance that you hit it. So I'm going to hit 5 shots, quarter swing, lob wedge. So there we go, we've hit 5 shots with the lob wedge, 58-degree quarter swing, and the average carry distance after 5 shots is 19 yards. Running out to 25, we're not really going to take note of that, but 19 yards on average is the carry distance for that wedge. So next up, we're going to go for the half swings. I'm going sort of L shape through to L shape, so it's about waist high, or the left arm parallel with the ground, through to waist high. 5 of those, let's see what that comes out with. A little bit thin, and then one more. Oh, a little bit chunky. But we'll keep that in there. If there's any sort of not so good strikes, you want an average, not a best. So now we've hit 5 shots with the 58-degree half swing, and then the average carry distance of the 5 is 34 yards. So we can see it was 19 with the quarter swing, 34 with the half swing. And I honestly urge everyone to give this a try. If you've not done it, do it. I would be stunned if you don't start lowering your scores. So this time we're going for 3/4 swing. So I just think shoulder to shoulder when I do this. Always recommend that you still have a slightly narrow stance, weight still on the left side, and pivot around the left leg. We're not going for full swing setup. We're not going to go for full swing motion just yet. That's going to be next. And just by having that setup and making sure we don't go full swing or too wide, you just give yourself a better chance of consistent contact. So 5 swings, shoulder to shoulder. 3/4. So now we've got the next batch of shots, 58 degree, 3/4 swing, average carry distance here, 53 yards. So we've got nice gaps, 19 yards with the quarter swing, 34 yards with the half swing, 53 with the 3/4 swing, and then hopefully a little bit more with the full swing. Right, so full out with the lob wedge. Let's go for 5 full out lob wedge swings. I wouldn't do it very often, but it's just a good number to know. Maybe there's a pin tucked right behind a bunker and you need your ball to land and stop really, really quickly. Maybe you're going downwind and you need a higher spinning option that's going to land and stop rather than land and release. So there are times where you might use it. It's maybe a shot, you might go 10 rounds without even using this shot, but it's just good to know how far that carries. I know a lot of people don't like full swing lob wedge. Caught that a bit clean, probably a bit longer than what I would hit it. So for this shot, we're going back to sort of normal width stance, more like a full shot. I like to keep my weight just slightly left with a wedge for full shots. Again, just to get that sort of downward strike, that good consistent contact. Right. That was a better strike. That went a bit shorter. That would be more what I would expect on the course. 3 more. That was a good one. 2 more. That was a little bit short. We'll keep that one. I've got one thinned one. I've got one that went a little bit longer than normal. That one's a bit shorter than normal. Didn't strike that so good. Then what we can see from the average is the average of the 5 shots is 71 yards of carry distance. And honestly, what's so good about this is we've only done one wedge. We've got 19 yards of carry. We've got 34 yards of carry. I think we had 54 yards with the 3/4 swing, and then we've got 71 with the full swing. So basically, if you've got 20 yards, I've got a quarter swing. If I've got 30 yards, it's just less than half. 40 yards, just more than half. If I've got 50 yards, it's slightly less than a 3/4. 60 yards, slightly more than a 3/4. And then 70 yards is covered with a full one of these. So there's a whole range of distances covered. Obviously this is a higher flighted option. This is going to be high spin, high flight. It might not be the club of choice all the time, but we've got 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 5 distances covered already with one club. Once we've done all 4, you're going to see a whole range of different distances covered, which will give you different flight options depending on what you come out. I'll give you different flight options based on what you come across out on the golf course. You'll have some crossovers. You might get 50 yards and you might have 2 or 3 different options rather than not even having one. So honestly, I cannot recommend doing this enough. If you don't already know it, this should be probably top of the list unless you're not striking it very good, in which case you need to work on your setup, you need to work on a little bit of technique until you get the consistency of strike. But it is honestly one of the best things you can do for your golf. So now we're going to I'm going to go through these clubs quite quickly, show you tables at the end of them, come out with the distances, and we're going to show an overall wedge matrix at the end to sort of show you what it would look like, something that you can design, something that you can copy. We'll even stick a description link below, something that you can download yourself, a little wedge matrix, and you can start to fill that out in practice. So this is 54 quarter swing. So 54 quarter swing, we've got 24 yards on average. On to the half swing now, hopefully that'll go about 10-15 yards longer. So 54 half swing, carry distance is coming out at 33 yards on average. Right, shoulder to shoulder sand wedge. Let's see how far these go. So maybe hit that lot a Still a bit too aggressive. That's coming out at 64 yards. Actually, that's probably about right. That's what I would see in the golf course. I think my half swings probably wasn't giving those quite enough. So probably would do those again, but that's going to give me good gaps. Obviously looking at the 60 and the distances from the 54 now. From looking at the 58 degree and then now looking at the 54, getting a lot of different distances covered. So we've got full swing, sand wedge to go, then 2 more wedges, which I'm going to go through these quite quickly, show some different tables, different distances, and what you should do next. So full swing 54 is coming out at 86 yards carry distance. Right, this is a quarter swing 50 degree. What we'll probably see when you do the quarter swings, they might go quite close together. You'll just get different trajectories. So with the quarter swing lob wedge or 58 degree, that would go high, carry, and maybe only run out 1 or 2 yards at the most. Sand wedge might go a similar carry distance, roll out a few more, and then with the gap wedge and the pitching wedge, you will see the ball release a little bit more. It's important just to bear that in mind. We're looking at carry distance here, not total. Yep, that just proves it. Very similar. Quarter swing gap wedge is carrying 24 yards. There we go, we're going 50-50, so 50 degree, 50% swing. The carry distance is almost coming out at 50. It is 46 yards for my gap wedge. 2 more yardages to get with this club. Shoulder to shoulder again. Whoa, not a good strike, but we'll keep that one in. It's not terrible. So my 3/4 gap wedge, 50 degree, is coming out at 87 yards on average. There's a couple a little bit longer. There's one at 90. They're actually quite consistent with that. And again, that's at fairly narrow stance. The ball middle to slightly right of middle because it's not a full shot yet. This is more of a distance wedge. And then back to normal for the full shots. Okay, fill out 50 degree. Let's see how far this goes. I normally would play it about the 110 mark, 115 a push. Pulled it. That'll go a little bit further than normal. Now 112. Whoa, bit right. Not very good on that one. So that's coming out at 105, probably the really short one. There was one that carried 94 yards. I would maybe delete that one, do that one again. I would normally play 105 to 110 on the golf course. And again, it's finding out I can hit it further than that, but I like to swing quite easy with my wedges. So it's finding out also how fast to swing. You want a nice tempo throughout the bag. In terms of your tempo, you want to try and keep that consistent and try and change length of swing rather than changing speed of swing too much. And finally, we've got 20 more shots. We've got pitching wedge. And again, pitching wedge, you probably don't use half swing, 3/4 swing pitching wedge that much. It's good to know the quarter swing so that if you're using wedge onto a green, you know if you carry over a bunker or you know if there's a big slope in front of the green, you could carry it over that and then let the ball release. So quarter. More run out than the last club. So that quarter swing is coming out at 26 yards carry distance. So again, very similar to the last one. A few more yards of run out, definitely chasing on more when it hits the ground, but similar in terms of carry distance. Now time for one that doesn't get used very often, a half swing pitch and wedge. Good to know if you're maybe, or for me, for example, if I am 50 yards away or more and I want it to go low and release to the flag. So maybe like back pin, you land it on the front edge of the green, you allow it to chase up towards the hole rather than fly it all the way. That's when you might use this one. Into the wind, if it's quite windy. Choose that lower lofted wedge. Not so good with that one. Oh, chunky. And final shot. So, including the chunk ball, 43 yards carry, 3/4 wedge, shoulder to shoulder. One where I left the face open, so it went a little bit shorter, but on average 99 yards of carry. So again, it's quite similar to full gap wedge, but it just gives you a slightly different option in terms of if you need it to just go 5-10 yards shorter. If you need that lower trajectory, that lower spin option, again, if it's windy, or if you want the ball to release a little bit more when it hits the ground. Right, final one, we've got full swing with the pitching wedge. So after doing this full pitching wedge carried 119. Also in there was one that went quite long because I pulled it. There was one that went short because of a heel strike and the face open. But that would be about the number. I would hit it anywhere between 119 carry. Again, the total on that is 123. Sometimes if I'm hitting it good, it can be up towards 130, or if the temperature's high, it could be 130. So it gives you good baseline numbers. This is definitely an exercise I would recommend you all do. You can do it at the practice area, you can do it at your local driving range, you can pace them out, there's launch monitors, you've got top tracer range, you've got lots and lots of different options now. Even pay for a simulator for 1 hour and go and do this. It will be one of the best things that you've ever done. This is the table, this is the graphic that we are looking for. So what you can do is you can get your wedge, so you get your 58 degree, and you can write down how far it goes with a quarter swing, half swing, 3/4 and full, writing down each carry distance. You then do that with each wedge, and then you've got this nice little graph telling you how far they go. Put it in your golf bag, get really, really good with them, start to use it all the time, and you're going to knock that ball pin high and closer a lot more often. So if you're struggling from inside 120 yards, make sure you do this. If there's anything else you would like to see in the channel, comment down below. If you found this video useful, if you could like this video and also subscribe to the channel, where there are always 2 weekly videos just like this one that come out every week in order to help you with your golf. If you're looking for any freebies in return, check out the description link below, where we have a free wedge matrix that you can download and you can start to try out all the things in this video. If you're looking for a free online lesson with me, click the Skillest link below, where you can send me a few swings and you'll get an analysis video and a video feedback straight to your inbox within a couple of days. Comment down below what you guys would like to see on the channel. What do you struggle with? Which videos or content would you like to see? And once again, thanks for watching, and see you next time on the channel.